What's up, everyone, and welcome to the ASOTV podcast for Pretty Little Liars, Season 5, Episode 5, Miss Me Times 100, the 100th episode of the series. This week, Allison goes back to school. Sydney may not be as innocent as we thought, and A is back, bitches. But first, I'm your host, Dom, and with me, I have my co-host, Heather.
Hey,
How's it going?
it is going. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Doing pretty well. Oop, that's the wrong show. Didn't I just say in pre-show that I was gonna do that? I totally did. Um, yeah. So this was a crazy episode.
It was. It was. I warned you.
You did. I burned my lunch because I didn't want to look away from
You
the
did not
TV.
heed my warning.
I didn't. You were texting me last night and you're just like, this episode is so good, it's amazing, and I was like, don't I can't watch it yet. I was still out, and then I had shows podcast to do when I got home, and then I was
It
just
was
like crazy things, whatever. I ended up sitting down to watch it this afternoon and burnt my lunch because I didn't want to get up from the TV.
like the first 10 minutes was so slow, and then as soon as that 10-minute marker hit, it just shit exploded.
Yeah,
Literally.
it was crazy. But before we go into the actual episode, while this episode was on, I started thinking, do you think it's about time that they changed the intro?
I personally love the intro. I do. I've always been really big on that intro. I wouldn't mind a new one. I remember when they had ZZ Ward do an entire song for just the show, and she did amazing for it. I actually love ZZ Ward. So I think they could. I mean, Allie's not dead anymore, so I guess they could revamp it a little bit.
Right. Like that's really the only thing that I think needs to be changed. Like you can still keep the coffin there,
Yeah.
but just put the five girls in instead of
Yeah.
the four, and it'll be fine. Keep the music, keep everything the same. Like you don't need to change anything else, just include Allison in it.
Unless Allie is an Allie.
Hmm.
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 Maybe.
I mean, they keep trying to tell us that Allie doesn't have a twin, but
Maybe they're throwing us off.
they love to do that.
But then that would make them into liars.
And the show is based on liars.
True. Yeah, because Allison goes back to school.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Finally.
and then, as you pointed out, which I dismissed as, I thought maybe it was her trying to not let them break up, like the group break up and have them
Right.
like follow her and stuff. But then you mentioned about the guidance counselor office.
I'm 28 years old. I've been in school for over 10, well, about 10 years now. I still remember my guidance counselor office was.
Yeah, so like 2 years after she goes missing, she doesn't remember where her guidance
Isn't that shit
counselors
usually
are.
right in the front of the school by the office?
Yeah. Mine was between the office and the nurse's office.
Exactly. It was right there. You could get there. It wasn't like it was off in a corner far, far away.
So that instantly threw up some red flags after you mentioned it to me, because like I said, I was thinking that she was just saying that because she wanted one or more of the girls to like walk her there so she
Right.
wasn't alone. Could have been that,
Maybe.
or it could have been she never went to that school
Right? Maybe.
because she's not Allison, or she is Allison and Allison was not the same person that was there before. Hmm. Yeah, we don't
No.
know.
No. No, no.
No.
Don't do that on Netflix.
Yeah,
Go
don't
watch
do
the
that.
movie. Sorry.
We're doing sign language now. No, 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 no. That's okay.
Talking to the corner people. The kids. The kids. They're everywhere right now. They are so hyper today.
Yeah. So then I guess like the first big thing that happened was Spencer gets called down to the principal's office like immediately.
Right? Right. Wasn't even in school for 5 minutes.
No. And then next thing we know, she's being pulled out of school to pack so they could hide from their father.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or hide from her father. I said
Miss
there,
Hastings,
but
Miss Hastings says that she's leaving her dad. That
yeah,
she's leaving Mr. Hastings,
yeah,
which is completely out of left field. Like, you've apparently known about the cheating and the bastard child, and now you want to leave him?
seems a little weird. But then Mrs. Hastings brings up the fact that Melissa and Kenneth were. Was it Kenneth? No,
Yeah.
Kenneth is the other one.
Peter.
Peter?
Ken?
One.
Mr. Hastings.
Mr. Yeah, we'll just go with that. I think Kenneth is Allison's father.
Yeah, and I think Peter Hastings is her or Spencer's dad.
Maybe. So Mr. Hastings
Right.
and Melissa lied about where they were the night of Mrs. De Laurentiis' death.
Yes.
That does not mean that they killed her.
But they definitely were not where they said they would be.
No. So, obviously, Mrs. Hastings thinks that they did kill her. Otherwise, they wouldn't have pulled Spencer out of school.
Right. And Miss Hastings did make the statement that her and Mr. Hastings had promised that no matter what happens, they would leave the girls out of it.
Right.
But never said what it was.
Yeah. So, Melissa's in on something.
Obviously.
Which may come back. We'll get back to that toward the end of the episode. But
Yeah.
I have a little theory to tie in with that. Then we find out after school's over, and well, I guess hold on. Allison goes back to school, and she starts apologizing to people, and she's trying to get on people's good side. Did you think she was genuine at first?
You know, it's really hard to say with her because I mean, and we'll talk about it later. You know, she there's a glimpse of her true nature, of her old self later on in the episode, and you know, it's hard to tell if she is really trying or if it's hard. I mean, I told you what my theory was with the scar on Allie's leg.
Yeah, so might as well tell everybody else.
So, what was it last week's episode? Allie was at the doctor and the doctor saw the scar on Allie's leg on her upper thigh. And if you guys remember back in the Halloween episode for what season did I say it was? 3?
I want to say 3, yeah.
Yeah. With the big Halloween episode when they were on the train, Arya got put into a box. And in the box was dead Garrett. Now, somehow she found a screwdriver while she was in there and she cut herself free. And then she proceeded in stabbing somebody through the box. And we know it hit somebody, but we heard a guy-like voice cry out in pain. Possibility is still that she could have stabbed Allie, maybe? I mean,
it's possible.
I mean, maybe Allie didn't say anything and Allie hurt somebody else in the little fray of fighting. I mean, there's a couple of different things. I mean, maybe she was on the train and she was trying to save Arya and she was on top of the box trying to stop it and Arya accidentally stabbed her not knowing and it chased everybody off. Or maybe Allie was helping, you know?
Very well could be.
Because we never found out who got stabbed.
I think that makes the most sense. I think that's where we're going to find out where the scar came from. I think it's going to be from Arya, and that's going to be instantly why she didn't tell Hannah, I think was with her at the time, that episode. Because then that just complicates things even more, and then it seems like she's hiding more stuff, and then they're never going to trust her, so she's probably going to try to just sweep it under the rug. So I think that is where that scar came from. That makes the most sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, that's really the only thing that we've seen.
Yeah, if not, it's going to be something completely obscure.
Right.
We got Caleb back this episode.
Mwah. Yep. I've been attacked. I'm sorry.
What'd you think of the new Caleb look?
I don't
He comments on Hannah like
know.
doing something with her hair, but she says nothing about his new look.
Calls her out too. You changed it because Allie's back, didn't you?
Yep.
Bam. She's just like, maybe. I don't know. Like the long hair is nice. I mean, no, no, you're in my face. Come on. The long hair was nice and all, and he looked a little shabby. But now it looks like somebody put a bowl on his head.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
It was a little poofy in places, and with the scrubby face and everything, and
It's
he's
like
still wearing dingy clothes.
it was like
That
he
was
had like wavy hair in the back, and then it was just like flat in the
right.
front, and it was like I don't know. It was different.
It
He
was
had some facial hair going on, and
Yeah. I mean, it was great seeing him back. It
yeah,
was.
for
I mean,
sure.
I was so happy to see him back,
I didn't
and
really like him with long hair though. His long hair seemed really weird, and it like curved in weird places, and I don't know. It was awkward. Like he couldn't do anything with it. It was just like
it still looks like there's nothing they can really do with it because of how his hair just naturally sits.
yeah. So it was
Hmm.
interesting having him back.
It was.
But they set him up, and I've noticed this more in Ravenswood than I did on this show. But now that I've noticed it on Ravenswood and it's carrying over here, he just has the worst temper. He's so angry all the time. Like he's
Ooh,
always
yeah.
ready to start a fight with somebody.
He
Like
was.
he's in the
In
coffee
that
shop and he just starts turning around yelling at people.
Yeah.
All they're
He's
doing is
very
talking. It's a coffee shop. Like people talk.
right. And then you saw his face when he saw Travis's name on the second coffee cup when it got put on the counter.
Yeah.
I
He
mean,
made
and
Hannah
then
turn around to go get it and then ducked out.
yeah, just gone. And wouldn't answer calls, wouldn't talk to her.
He wanted to go
I
play on
mean,
the swing set.
yeah, exactly. The emo set.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to see. In a way, I want to see that progress a little bit more and see what happens. I mean, obviously, Hannah's extremely upset by it.
Yeah, because she was at the party. It was Lucas's party. She brought
Hmm.
Travis. Lucas's
Right.
girlfriend didn't end up showing up.
Girlfriends.
Yes.
Girlfriends.
Girlfriend that he's
And
totally doing it with.
yeah, and when I found it funny because when he invited Hannah at school to the party after his girlfriend was picked up from Philly, she walked away and he watched her and then got on the phone and the scene cut completely.
Hmm.
And he had that strange I'm up to no good look.
Well, of course he was up to no good. We do find that out in a little bit.
Hmm.
Because Mona had set up Allison in
Right.
the church to pick a fight with her, slap her, get something incriminating on video. Didn't exactly know
Right.
what she was going to get, but she got something incriminating, which she takes back to school to show people Allison has not changed.
Right. Of course she edited it to make it look like Hannah was the innocent one.
Right.
Or Hannah, sorry, Mona.
Mona, yes. Mona was the
Mona.
innocent one. So, do you think Allie underestimated her, or that Allie is losing her touch? Because as we started saying last episode, she's not as good of a liar as she was, and even Mona pointed that out this episode.
Right. When I really liked the confrontation between Allie and Mona, Allie called her out finally. I'm looking for my notes for it. Should be like right here. Um, Mona's sitting here telling Allie about how she knows Allie and the girls were in New York City when Shauna was killed and that she has proof and everything. But Allie stands her ground. She acts like Allie there for a few minutes and says that, after Mona's saying that all she wants is Allie to leave, Allie calls her on her bullshit. She's saying that Mona's pissed off at her because she bullied everybody and stuff. And she turns around and she says, "But what about you? You've been bullying the girls for months now. You almost killed Hannah."
Yeah.
And
So
then
that the doctor said I'm okay.
and Mona's like, and
Hypocrite.
what I did to Hannah hurts me still to this day, And Allie flat out looked at her and said, "I'm not leaving. And if you keep this up, I made you loser Mona once. I can do it again."
Right, so Mona really knows how to push her buttons.
Yes. And that's when Mona slapped the shit out of her, and Allie turned one of her rings around and bitch slapped her, cut her face open.
Yeah.
I think Allie I wanted to say that Allie got too heated up and lost sight of what was really going on. I don't think it's so much of underestimation or losing touch, but just more of that heat of the moment adrenaline rush.
Right.
She's been trying so hard to put her place down, and now somebody's threatening it, so she's just going to get shitty and fight back.
Yeah. For sure. Um, Jenna was also a big part of this episode. She came back. We see her coming on a bus.
Mm-hmm.
Then we find out she had moved to New York City.
Yep.
Which kind of explains why
Shauna was there.
Shauna, yeah. I was trying to think of her name. Why Shauna was there. But it doesn't explain how Shauna knew that the liars were going to be there. And
right.
Is that just coincidence, or...
Yeah.
So, or...
But I mean...
Who was that was with Allison at the time? I forget the guy that was there.
Right. But you have to also remember, and I know you want to probably talk about it there at the end, is that, don't forget who Jenna talks to later.
Right. Which is Sydney. We'll just go into that now. Sydney and who?
And Mona.
And Mona. Yeah, so Sydney is driving Jenna. So we're to believe that Sydney was the one that was in the car corralling Allison to the church.
Right. Right. I mean, she's got the big glasses on. She's got her hair down. She's got her makeup kind of done. She looks a lot like Jenna.
She does, and I didn't notice it until she had the sunglasses on.
Right. I didn't either until she put those fucking glasses on. I was like, are you serious?
So, do you think that they're going to try to make Sydney a relative of Jenna?
I'm not sure how they're going to do this.
Like a cousin or something? Because wouldn't that also be related to Toby?
Yes, it would be. It would
so
very
wouldn't
much
Toby have known about Sydney, or it's just because they've never crossed paths?
I have no idea, because, I mean, there's a lot of rumor flying around about Sydney right now. The big one that I've heard is that Sydney is related to or twins to the Bethany girl. I have heard that one.
And Bethany Young is the girl that they ended up finding at the end of this episode that's in Allison's grave.
She's the one in the grave.
Right.
Or that she's somehow related. What was the other one I said? That she was related to the Hastings as like a third bastard child, like a second bastard child, that kind of thing. I've heard a couple of different rumors of where she came from. Nothing solid yet, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a relative of Jenna if I had to make a guess, just because of how close and they made a point to make sure that you knew she looked like Jenna by having those glasses on. That was not done in error.
Right, and it's not like Toby has seen Sydney. Emily's been spending time with Sydney and with Paige.
Now Toby doesn't go to the school, right? He's graduated?
No, he's graduated. He works. I think he dropped out.
That would 100% explain why they've never crossed paths up to this point.
Right.
So.
Right. And if she's just kind of laying low with Jenna, that would explain. And, Toby doesn't live at the house with Jenna anymore. Nobody really lives in that house.
Where does Toby live?
For a while there, he had an apartment above one of the stores in town. Because Spencer was sneaking over there.
Right. Well, we know Jenna was in the house because Arya goes to confront her, and then Arya leaves because Jenna was crying, and Arya feels yada, 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 whatever. But we end up finding out that the reason Mona was able to confront Allison in the church is because it was very carefully orchestrated that all the girls were preoccupied. Right? You had Lucas occupying Hannah. You had Sydney occupying Emily.
And Paige.
You had Jenna occupying Arya. Which left Spencer, who was preoccupied with dealing with the stuff that was going on with her mother.
Yeah. Right? Like Spencer's kind of in her own little shit world right now. Nobody's really worried about what's going on with her.
But was that orchestrated too? That's my question. If that was orchestrated, that would put Melissa in on it, because do you think that day that everything is found out and then she gets pulled out and all that stuff is a coincidence?
Maybe.
Or do you think Melissa spilt the beans, Mother found out?
Maybe she told Mother.
Yeah.
And we just don't know it yet. One of those kind of things.
Right, so if Melissa was the one to spill it, it's rather convenient that it all happened on the same day.
Right, right. But the thing is also remember this. If it was orchestrated, the person driving the car to corral Allie could not have been Sydney, because Sydney was with Emily and Paige. Lucas was with Hannah.
I thought the musical thing ended.
Did it end? I didn't think it did. I think they were still there.
I thought Spencer was at. I thought they were all at the house together or something, weren't they?
I know that they were afterwards, after the whole thing, like after Mona's little attack on Allie, that they ended up all at the house. I mean, because she sent the SOS text from the church.
Right.
And I think the only one who wasn't at the house was Hannah, because she was drunk.
Right.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Okay, so if it wasn't Sydney that was driving, well, we know it was a musical. Sydney very easily could have left.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't necessarily have to stay there. I thought it was Sydney's car.
Yeah.
I thought that because they made a point of getting out of the blackish
Right.
vehicle.
I mean, it might have been Sydney. It might have been Sydney. I mean, we've seen people dip out of things before and come back and nobody noticed.
Right.
I mean, it's one of those things.
Yeah. What else? Allie confessed to Emily that she had actual feelings for her.
Yes. Oh my God.
I think this is something we may have speculated about before. I can't remember.
We did speculate it. But Allie finally came out and was like, "I'm sorry for leading you on to believe that your feelings were one-sided."
They weren't just practice kisses.
They weren't just practice kisses. And then they had more practice kisses in bed later.
Mm-hmm.
Which was right after another part that I was so happy about.
Do you think this was a form of manipulation, or do you think she's being sincere?
I want her to be sincere, because I think that it would be really good for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'd also be cute because it's Allie and Emily. Those two are so close. But there is always the possibility that it is manipulation.
Mm.
I mean, if we go into the twin thing, where we think maybe she is a twin, given the little bit of hint that we've had towards it, what if she just knew about this? Like, she knew about that part of her twin sister's life and she's playing on it to try to win over their trust, to make them not suspect her. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, it's difficult to really know for sure.
That it is. While that was going on, another couple got hot and heavy.
Yay!
Ezra and Arya seem like they're back together.
Why pie? Why not pie?
I like pie.
Oh man, I was so happy. I was seriously, like, I knew it was coming. We all knew it was gonna happen. But when it finally happened, I was so happy. I love that couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We knew it was coming. We knew it was coming. Didn't know how long, but it was inevitable. You
it was inevitable.
See it past few hints of the last couple episodes. Yeah. She was fighting back feelings, and finally, he's just like,
"Here's my scar.
I don't want you to be sorry anymore." Yeah.
How to get her in bed? Want to see my scar?
Works every time.
But yeah, they hooked back up. They're apparently together, and Arya's not saying anything to anybody.
Mm-mm. In fact, she even wanted to come clean about Shauna to Toby.
Right.
She said to Spencer, "If you want to tell him, it's your decision. Tell him."
Right. Ari is just trying to find closure, and she's trying to find it in all the wrong places where it's going to get her in trouble.
I'm still waiting for the knife kickboxer to come back.
Field hockey stick.
God damn it. He's been so, like, we literally have not seen him since then. And it's bothering me. Like, Ezra's been shot and his wound is healing. And this other dude kicked a knife and he's still not back?
Hello. Yeah, no, I have no idea where he is.
Unless he got, like, an infection in his foot and died. Like, I think we would have heard about that, though.
Yeah, right? I have no idea where he is. It was like he was there for a distraction and then he was gone and that was it. That was it.
He didn't even, like, they could have just, if that was the end of him, they could have had him, like, show him, like, in the hospital and then, like, coming home and packing his stuff and leaving. And that would have been closure, but we don't know what happened, so.
I mean, maybe he's still in town and she's just avoiding him and he's avoiding her. Who
I'm sure
knows?
he's avoiding her because he knows what was going on to a degree, and then he, he thinks it's Ezra or whatever, and then he kickboxes this knife, and then he disappears. So maybe he's plotting against Ezra. Maybe he had something to do with Ezra getting shot. We don't know. So
who knows?
He very well could be the next day.
Right. He could be part of the whole thing, and we'd have no idea until later on, whenever they finally decide to tell us.
Mm-hmm. So the very final scene, we see A moving back in.
Yes.
Right? Unpacking boxes.
Rosewood.
Box number whatever out of 62. So A has 62 boxes of toys of mass destruction.
Yes.
We see.
We saw Barbie dolls.
Yeah, we saw Mona's dolls, the one that she had before. We saw the dollhouse that the dolls went with, that Mona had before. This was stuff that was in Mona's old hotel room.
Yeah.
It had a police scanner, which was listening to the destruction that the person had just caused, which we'll get into in a second.
Yeah.
And then it had the black lace dress with the mask or whatever, the black lace mask. From what was
Black
it?
Swan.
Wilden, yeah, was it Wilden's funeral?
Oh no, I know what you're talking about. Yes, that was Wilden's funeral.
Yeah, it was that same dress.
I think I have something about that in my clues. We'll get to that.
Yeah. So, with A being back, all of a sudden, Jenna / Toby's house goes up in flames, and it's all conveniently when Bethany Young gets named on
Close that window.
Television news announcement, and
right,
all the liars, Toby, Caleb, they're all in one place.
Paige is not there.
Paige is not there.
Thank you.
So, any guesses on A?
It's really, really hard to think of who it is. At this point in time, I'm trying to think of somebody that isn't really around a lot. You know what I mean?
Kickboxer.
Kickboxer.
Maybe.
What?
Maybe A is actually the field hockey stick.
There you go. What if A was the girl from the other town that went missing around the same time that Allison went missing?
That's a huge possibility. Well, I forget. We're talking about her name.
I don't remember
something Harvey.
Yeah.
Her last name is Harvey. I
have no idea.
I
can't remember.
Sarah Harvey.
There you go. Obviously, I mean, they're making it look like it's somebody who, if she or he goes missing, they don't really notice it.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen where Melissa is. We've seen where Jenna is. We've seen where Sydney is. We've seen where Mona is. And we've seen scenes where Mona is talking to this person in black.
Right.
Which basically says that's not Mona. It's obviously somebody who...
Mona's a pawn.
Right.
Mona may not even be in on this A thing. Like, Mona's the obvious choice right now, so it's not Mona.
Right. And then there's Melissa. She's obviously a pawn. There's so many possibilities. I mean, Maybe it's Cece?
Vivian Darkbloom just went to Paris.
We saw her at the ticket line.
This is
We
true.
didn't see her get on the plane and see her take off.
This is true, and the police don't seem too worried about Cece all of a sudden.
Yeah. Like, oh, she's missing, she's gone, it's okay.
Yeah, it's just like, okay,
She
whatever.
just killed somebody.
But granted, we haven't even heard a lot from the police. Like,
Right.
They weren't around last episode, were they? This episode, we had the news broadcast from the head of the department, but last episode, episode 4, I don't believe anything.
Not really.
So
they've been pretty quiet.
So we don't really know exactly where they stand either. So,
guys, you're driving me crazy. Let your brother into the bedroom. Oh my God. I mean, it's there's so much, and Toby ran into this burning down house to make sure nobody was in it.
Jenna.
Yeah.
Make sure Jenna wasn't in it.
And then as soon as he runs in there, guess what else explodes? More of the house.
So, is Toby okay? Is he gonna be in the hospital?
Just as it cut, they all got a text message, and we don't know what it says.
Something, I'm back, bitches. That's what I'm gonna guess.
I think for the preview, I think they said it says "miss me, bitches" or something like that.
Yeah, it said "miss me," and then you could hear that they start to say "bitches," but they cut it off for the
right
TV censorship.
Right.
But yeah.
They're cutting the grass outside my window. My dogs are just pissed.
Oh, excellent. So we've been going off this whole time with the twin theory because that's what the books do. We kind of excluded Allison having the twin because they've said on Twitter, the actress that plays Allison has said that she does not have a twin on the show. But somebody else may. So we started thinking about Jason. Jason seemed like the obvious choice. He's been acting kind of shady too. But then when I was thinking twin with Jason, I instantly assumed it was going to be a male twin, which you just brought to my attention. One of the popular theories going around is Jason has a female twin.
Female, yeah.
So that seems extremely plausible.
Well, yeah. I'm going through these clues right now. Let's see. Rosewood PD announced that the girl in Allie's grave was Bethany Young, a patient at Radley. Does Bethany have something to do with Toby's mom? Is that why his house was bombed just as the announcement was made? And was Bethany the reason for Miss D's worried phone call the night of Allie's almost death? Could she be Allie's twin?
At that point, I don't know, because I don't know how close DNA is and all that stuff, but if that's the case, if they were twins, don't they have very similar DNA?
Yeah,
and I don't think you'd be able to tell them apart. So I'm going to say that the person in the grave is not related to Allie at all.
Right. But the rest of it, does she have something to do with Toby and Toby's mother? Because another thing was at the very beginning of the episode, Ezra and Arya ran into Allie talking to a mysterious someone in a car. She claimed it was one of her father's employees giving her a ride. Was she telling the truth?
Oh, that's another good call. But she was standing in front of the building. Because they did look back and they saw De Laurentiis on it.
Right. Who was she talking to in this car, and is it somebody we know?
I don't think it's somebody we know. But I think we'll find out.
We talked about the guidance office. All right. We're not sure if we buy the story that Melissa and Mr. Hastings killed Miss De Laurentiis. At this point, it seems a bit too obvious.
Right.
But they're definitely hiding something. If they weren't at the diner when Miss D died, where were they?
Yeah, they're definitely hiding something. This also would explain why Mr. Hastings was so adamant about trying to shut Radley down before.
Right.
Because I remember that whole thing when Toby started prying and may have something to do with Toby's mother's death.
Right.
Because
he was hiding that from Toby and trying... at first he was all, let's do it. This is a great idea,
We never found out who pushed his mother either, did we?
No, and now we have Bethany there. So the whole thing is like, at first, Mr. Hastings was helping Toby, and then all of a sudden he told Toby, it's pointless, there's no use, let's just close and take the money.
Right.
You know? And now we're finding out that this girl, this new girl, Bethany, was a patient
Right.
at Radley. Is Mr. Hastings trying to protect her? Was Miss De Laurentiis trying to protect her?
So how long ago did Toby's mother die? Do we know?
Mm-mm. No, we don't.
Because
It was before the show started.
Right. So, and Allison disappeared before the show started as well.
Right.
So, I'm thinking Bethany pushed the mother and killed her, and then Mr. Hastings cut some kind of deal to take care of, because they probably would have done like whatever, but he cut some deal to probably take care of her, whatever. Used her body for Allison.
Right, because whoever clocked Allison over the head, Miss D saw who it was and did not stop them.
Right. So I'm thinking that, and that's why Mr. Hastings was covering Toby looking into things. And the hospital covering it somehow. I don't know. Because we have what's his name that Melissa was dating.
Ren.
We know Ren is going to be involved with something with Melissa.
Right. And we can never overlook the fact that A did have prescription pads from Ren.
Right.
See?
So it seems like the AV club that was going on isn't exactly as innocent as we thought they were.
Right. All right. The next one I had was that we want to trust Lucas, but we don't, obviously. Does he really have a girlfriend from Philly? And if so, who could it be? Could it be Cece? Or is it someone else we already know? And
Sydney?
he is maybe. And is he officially a part of the A team? We don't like the way he was supplying Hannah with beer.
Right. Yeah, so Lucas obviously was working with Jenna Sydney group.
Thank you. Yeah.
But we don't know if the Lucas Jenna Sydney group is part of the A team or not.
Right.
So we know he's part of a group that's against Allison. We don't know if it's the correct group or not.
That group. Right. Going back to when Allie was followed from Emily's house. Who was following her? Because whoever the hell it was not good at it.
No. I'm still thinking Sydney.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's the plausible one. Veronica alluded to an understanding she and her husband had about never involving Melissa and Spencer in something. What is she talking about?
Thinking Radley. I think it has something to do with Radley.
I think it has something to do with Radley, with De Laurentiis, with Toby even, because in the beginning, look at how hard her parents pushed to make sure that Spencer did not end up with Toby.
Right. And see, now I'm starting to think now. I'm going back. We got to find out what the big mystery was in season 1. Season 2, the big mystery was the field hockey stick. I don't remember what season 3 was. Season 4, the big mystery was Toby's mother. Mm-hmm. It just seems like there's some big mystery. I could just be stretching here, but I think they're all tied.
They all seem to be tied. I have a really good feeling that whatever...
They spent so much time on Toby's mother, and it went nowhere.
I know.
They spent so much time on the field hockey stick, and it went nowhere.
I almost have a feeling that whatever the Hastings is hiding is a big clue to what's really going on here.
Yeah.
All right, this is the fun one. This is the one that you'll like. Did anyone else catch that that was shared between Allie and Caleb when he walked into the house at the end of the episode.
I did.
Have these two met before? Could he have been the man in the car at the beginning of the episode? Or were they just intrigued to finally meet one another?
Ooh, he could have been in the car.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. Which is why she didn't say anything, because at that point nobody knew Caleb was back.
Well, I don't necessarily see. I'd have to go back and look, but I don't remember Allison necessarily giving him a look. I remember Allison looking to see who was there, but I remember the look that Caleb gave Allison. So that could just been like, oh, this is the girl that's caused so much trouble, or it could have been a look of acknowledgement from a previous meeting.
Or don't open your mouth, you know?
Yeah.
Could have been many things. The only other clue that I have is A is back, and why in the hell does he or she have Mona's shit?
Yeah, 62 boxes of it.
Yeah, like I wouldn't want Mona's stuff, would you?
No.
What else do I have here? Because I have
there was a satellite that they were talking about as well that you can use to gain access to people's phones, and what did they call it? Blue Snarf. I forget what they called it.
The big points for this episode was shipper confusion. You have Travis versus Caleb. Caleb is very adamant about not coming back to want to stop Hannah from seeing Travis.
Travis is such a nice guy.
Right. Allie versus Paige. There was finally the confrontation between the two of them.
Yep. That seemed to not really 100% be resolved.
Right. And it's leaving it where Hannah and Emily now have some really tough decisions to make.
Yeah.
Let's see what else I got here. Arya's right eye twitches every time she gets a text. These girls should probably just get rid of their cell phones altogether. Then again, they do need some time. They do need them to send SOS messages. Perhaps they could invest in some walkie-talkies.
Yeah. Next thing we know, one of the walkie-talkies gets stolen.
Right.
He's broadcasting over that. But yeah. Well, next week the episode is called Run Alley Run. And it with the town of Rosewood trying to get back to normal, the Pretty Little Liars, especially Allie, are far from okay after the latest accident. So that would be the house blowing up. Thinking that it wasn't the right idea or the right decision to come home after all, Allie starts considering leaving for good. Arya, Emily, Hannah, and Spencer are determined to keep her safe in Rosewood and to figure out who or what is behind the latest incident. Meanwhile, Caleb also starts second-guessing his return, and Ezra dives into his research to help find answers.
Right. At one point, Toby and Spencer did talk about rereading Fitzgerald's work. And last week we did hear Ezra say, maybe there is another part of the story, but I wouldn't bring it out unless it helped Arya.
Right. So
are we going to finally start?
What he's going to be doing in this episode.
Nice. Very nice.
So I think I'm glad we were wrong about not coming back until the mid-season finale.
I was so happy when I saw A. I was like, thank you.
Yeah. So very glad that we have A back. Hopefully that spices things up, and the next episodes from here on out are just great, because the show, as we saw for these first 4 episodes, can get really dull and boring without A around.
Right.
Episode 1 had A in it still as Shauna, whatever.
And it was great.
It was a good episode. As soon as A is eliminated, episode 2, 3, 4, snooze fest.
Terrible. They were so boring. And now this week, it was amazing.
Yeah. I think that about does it. You have anything else you want to add?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything.
And then some.
And then some of the popular questions, which I will try to compose some more of the theories that are going around and stuff for us.
Excellent.
So that way we have some ulterior ideas.
Yes. In the meantime, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Alarisrea. It's OLARIS _RHEA.
And they can also find you on Twitch.
Yes, you can also find me on Twitch at Alt F4 Studios. I can talk. That's where we do live video game streaming and lots of goofiness stuff like that.
You can find me down below at Phenomedom, Phenomedom. You can find both of us and others on Twitter, Facebook, Gmail, G+, and right here on YouTube /ASOTV podcast for some more podcasts for some of your other favorite TV shows. Currently, right now, the only other show we're covering is the reality game show Big Brother. But we will be back full swing this fall with some of your favorites as Supernatural, Once Upon a Time, and be picking up new shows. Yes, we'll be picking up new shows like Gotham and stuff like that.
I cannot wait.
So, yes, it'll be good.
This fall is going to be amazing.
Indeed it will. So, until next week, see you guys later.
Pie.
Pie?
Pie.
Was that a key lime pie?
I like pie.
I don't. Was it a key lime? I don't even remember what kind of.
I think it was key lime. It was key lime pie. It was
That's
key
awesome.
lime.
Now I gotta go have key lime pie.
Yes.
You get some for your kids.
Oh my god, no, they don't need any pie. They'll be bouncing off the walls even more. They're so hyper right now.
Perfect.